Hello everybody and welcome to the True Love Talk channel. As you know, here we want to learn about human sexuality, love, life, family, and all of this from the point of view of the Catholic Church, especially the teachings that Pope John Paul II left in the Theology of the Body. As you know, I am Elisa. Today's topic, which is sexuality, the human being created for love. So, let's begin. So to talk about sexuality, the first thing we need to understand is who is the human being. And basically, people have three basic elements. The body, which you all understand, right? This is very simple to understand. You all have one too, so you understand what I'm talking about. The body, the spirit, and the soul. Now, the soul and the spirit are the ones that are far more complicated, and they're usually confusing because they look exactly the same to one another. So the spirit is the immaterial essence of a person, and all spirits are characterized by being intelligent, right? Even when you think, oh, this person's kind of dumb, no, they have some intelligence, right? No one has zero intelligence, and we have an intelligence that goes beyond what animals can do, even if they are smarter at solving some problems, and they are far more skilled solving problems when it comes to survival and so on. But people have this one science that no animal has, and it is consciousness, right? And the consciousness can have two levels. First of all, we have the level of how I am. See, how am I? Or when people ask, how are you? Okay, that kind of thing. And here's when people can say, yeah, I am thirsty, I am hungry, I am sleepy, and yeah, as you might be thinking, so can animals. Animals can have this basic level of consciousness themselves. It happens. But people go a step further, a level up, right? And what they say is, not only they know that they are hungry, they also know that they are the person that is hungry, right? They can find themselves in there. So it's not longer how am I, but who am I, right? That's the thing that consciousness allows us to do. And even when people are surpassed by animals when it comes to intelligence about solving problems, no animal can understand its own identity like human beings or like other people, because this is something else. Human beings are not the only people in the universe. Okay, there are three kinds of people. We have the divine people. These are the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? Then we have angelic people, all angels and all demons. And then we have humans, see, whether they're good, bad, or sociopaths. Those are the people in the universe. And all of these people are intelligent and have the possibility of understanding themselves and have the possibility of creating an identity. Here's the deal. The moment you create an identity and the moment you can say, yeah, I am the person who is good at knitting. I am the person who is good at, nursing people back to health, right? At that moment, the identity allows you to understand yourself in time, because you can understand that you're the same person that you were when you were 8 years old. Although when you were 8, you were very different from what you are now. Your body is different. Your psyche is different. Your interests are different, right? Everything has changed, and yet you can say, this is me. So thanks to your identity, you can say, I am the same person, right? But then you can also put yourself into the future, right? Or understand yourself in the future and think, because I am the person who is good at nursing people back to health, I am going to become a nurse, right? That is something that consciousness and intelligence allows people to do. Now, onto the soul. The best way to understand the soul is the Latin word for it, which is anima. It means that animates, right? That motivates the being for something. Animals are called animals because they are animated, right? They are motivated towards things. But because they're only corporal beings, their soul is only about corporal things. such as, right, finding food, finding water, being safe, that kind of thing. Now, you'll be thinking, oh, yeah, I share that with animals. And yes, we do share that part of our soul with animals. But because we have a spirit, our motivations and what animates us to move forward is going to be different. To the point that if we don't have our spiritual needs satisfied, there are people who think about killing themselves, right? Or there are people who think about that they are worth nothing. Something that would never happen to an animal, because animals don't really look inside and think, yeah, I am a dog. What kind of good dog I have to be? It's just, they just are, right? Well, we make the effort of thinking how to be a good human being, right? How to be a good person. In this sense, the soul becomes the hinge, right, that is going to coordinate or integrate, right, the spirit and the body. Now, when it comes to sexuality is goes through these three elements of the human being. That means body, soul, and spirit, right? But it also integrates them in one goal, which is love, right? Sexuality is all about love. When we think of sexuality, most people think of coitus, right? And they think that the only sexual relationships you can have are romantic relationships. Actually, because we have a spirit, our sexuality is broader than it happens with animals. Because in animals, sexuality is all about reproduction. In human beings, it is all about the construction of humanity in ourselves, in others, and in future generations as well. And sexuality is all about love, right? And that means that any significant relationship where there's love for the other person, that is part of sexuality, although it might not include genitality. For example, relationships between parents and children. They love each other, but if they are good relationships, genitality would never appear, right? And yet these are significant relationships of love that develop the human person in its totality. So even if it isn't part of genitality, it is part of sexuality. And the same happens with relationships between siblings or friends, or maybe tutors and students. This is the kind of thing that happens when a tutor tells the student, well, yeah, you're really good at physics. Don't you want to be, I don't know, a rocket scientist? You could be, right? And the person changes who they are, or they actually understand themselves. They create a life plan that allows them to go further on into their fulfillment, right? So these are sexual relationships as well, although they don't include genitality. So as you can see, genitality is a very small part of the very broad spectrum, which is sexuality. And sexuality, as I said, is all about developing humanity. And of course, part of it is developing spiritually in the identity that we're building of ourselves. So how does love, right, allow us to have identity? First of all, because every time we're in front of a person, the person is going to ask something from us, right? Sometimes they ask something very straightforward and that is very easy to understand, as in if you are a waiter and the client enters and says, please give me a Coke, you have to give them a Coke. If you are a doctor and they say my leg is broken, you have to fix the leg. But there are also other things that are a little bit more subtle and that are even more important than others, that the other things that are easy to understand. For example, sometimes people are in front of you and all they ask for is friendship or a consolation or a help. Some people even ask for the chance to help you, right? That actually happens when the person comes to you and they just say, oh, yeah, you need this, let me do it, right? They're asking for something. And the thing is, when we are in that relationship with the other person, the person is asking for something and we can check if we have what they need, right? When it's Coke, it's just looking in the freezer and yeah, we have Coke or we don't. But sometimes it goes further than that. And you just look inside and you think, okay, this person needed a mechanic and I actually fixed that car very well and I am good at this and I can do it well. So maybe this is part of who I am. I am the person that fixes cars well. Okay? That is something that one can think, and that becomes a source of identity, a source of who you are. So you're growing as long as you're answering to the other person, right? The other reason why sexuality is fundamental for development is that many times people in the relationship are able to see things about ourselves that we never saw, such as going back to the example of the student and the tutor, right? You're great at physics and I never noticed. I know how things work and it's easy for me to do it, but I never noticed that I was good at this. And so I understand a thing of myself that wasn't clear for me, right? That is the other reason why. First reason, I answer to what the person needs. Second reason, the person makes a recognition of who I am. But then in that sexual relationship, right, I also recognize the other person. And in recognizing the other person, I can find a way of being human that is completely different from the way that I am human. In this case, we're building our identity from a negative point of view because we're saying this is not in me, although this is human, right? But and then we understand that humanity is bigger than ourselves, right? That we are never going to be completely human because there is always a part of humanity that you're not going to have. And that, of course, it starts as basic as being male or female, right? Because these are two very different ways of being in the world and of existing and being human. But it goes all the way up to, even in the same profession, two female nurses that attend the same kind of wing in the same kind of hospital are going to do things different because they are each going to be different people with different identities. So yeah, sexuality is absolutely fundamental for spiritual development. But as I said before, it doesn't mean coitus all the time. It doesn't mean that to be a fulfilled person, you need intercourse. What you need, if you had paid attention, you will notice that what we need to truly develop is to become gifts for the other person. Because once I realize that I am here to answer to the other person, that only when I answer and I am there for the other person, I can actually grow and be better, right? I can actually understand myself and become someone, whoever you want to be. But that someone that you're going to be is not going to be there if there isn't anyone to actually give it to. So yes, humanity is all about love because we were created by love. First of all, because we were created by God, who is love. And he created us because he loves us. So we were created by the love for love. And he made us people that could understand themselves, because when we understand ourselves, we can understand others. And we can recognize others. So we are capable of loving, of truly giving oneself to the other person and being the person that the other person needs us to be. There's a lot of persons there, but yeah, that is how it works. And so God created us with the ability to love because he wanted to love us. And a very important part of loving someone is for that other person to be able to receive the love, right? So yeah, he made us with the ability to understand ourselves, to understand him, and to receive what he gives us, but also to give him back the love. This is the reason of our existence, and this is why when people can go their entire lives without losing their virginities, without having the slightest problem, but when they don't have love, if they're loved by no one, if they love no one, that is when their life is absolutely miserable. So this is today's topic. On our next video, we're going to discuss the modern individual and all the values that modernity has for people, and how does that affect us. Now that we know that we were created for love, what does it mean to live how we actually live? So I'm very glad to see that you decided to stay until the end of the video. If you have any question or any comment, please write it in the comment section below. I'll try to answer it as soon as possible. And well, see you in the next video. Have a nice day. Lots of blessings for everybody. Bye.